يا لغتي عربية حسبي بأنك منطقي وبياني عربية قلبي.
This is double check for quality and for what it's being recited in terms of any mistakes or any errors in memory or in terms of the way he recites it.
If you memorize it, why did they need to write it down on pieces of parchment and pieces of bone?
Because you see, in the time of Arabia, at that time, 1400 years ago, the paper, the papyrus, whatever it was very expensive. So they would write it on whatever was available at that time. Not only that, the primary source of the way it was propagated, the Quran, was by memory. Because you see, the Arabs at that time, they had very good memory. They would remember the genealogy of their horses. Yes, that this horse's mother was this and this father was this. They would basically have such in-depth knowledge in terms of memorizing that they would memorize things like that, which to us might be mundane, which might not even be relevant. They would memorize poetries, lengthy poetries, yes? And you see, there is also evidence in the Iliads, you know the Iliads, which was written by, I believe by, what's his name? The Greek guy, Homer. Yes, so Homer has written, and at that time they say that this was basically written down from memory, or written down. It's a lengthy tale, you know, the tale of
Gilgamesh.
Not Gilgamesh, probably not that, but it's basically the story of Greece, you know, when Greece and the Romans and basically when they used to have wars and so on. It's all this mythology of the Greeks and the Romans, and it's quite a lengthy one, and they say that was written from memory. But anyway, what I'm saying is that, you see, Muhammad was able to understand what people, when they recited back to him. So when the scribes used to recite back to him, he would tell them he would either correct them or tell them to put this verse in a particular location within the scripture of the Quran. So they would know.
How would they know? Like, say for instance, you're taking that Quran out of Mecca, Medina, you're going to Africa, Somalia, and you're using your voice to translate it to a different language as well.
No, it's the same language. The Quran is always in Arabic, my friend, and that is the beauty of the Quran. You see, it is translated.
It's translated into English now.
I totally agree. It is translated, but that translation is not called the Quran. There's a difference between the Quran and the translation of the Quran, and the translation of the meaning of the Quran. So what I'm saying is that if you go to Somalia, you go to America, you go to Australia, or you go to India, you will find the same Quran in Arabic recited by Arabs and non-Arabs.
Yeah, but isn't it translated into different language so they can understand it?
No, it is translated, I agree. But remember what I told you, the translation is not the Quran. The Quran remains from the time of Muhammad until when God wishes it to.
The glorious Quran is translated into English.
Yeah, of course there is translations of the Quran.
And there's some translation errors in it, you know.
You see the translations you'll find different. Like for example, if you read the KJV and the NIV, you'll find different wordings for the same verse. This is basically the translation from the original into English, because not everything in Arabic can be rendered into English. You have to somehow look at the culture, look at the idioms, and translate it instead of translating everything literally. Otherwise, it won't make sense to you. So there is something always lost when you translate it from language A to language B. So that's the reason we always keep it in Arabic, regardless of your background, regardless of where you're from.
But I can't understand Arabic,
Then you rely on the translation.
You got classical Arabic as well. People say you got to learn the original Arabic, which is not being used today, you know?
It's used to it, of course.
But the classical Arabic is still being used.
Classical Arabic is used to it, yes.
Well, I can't. I mean, someone's giving me the Quran and it's in English. And they say, well, you can't really understand it unless you learn Arabic and read it in Arabic.
Blocking the view.
You know what I mean? So for me, it's like a disadvantage to me. And like, when I look at it, I find myself, there's so much confusion, especially even in Islam. You've got different sects of Islam. You've got Sunnis and Shias, Ahmadiyas, and you've got Sufis. You know, so there's so many different belief systems in Islam as well.
Just like any other religion.
In Christianity, it's even worse. There's about 40,000 different denominations of Christianity.
I think all the faiths, even the Judaism, even other faiths, they all they all have this different sects, different interpretation of the original. But you see, if you find in all the different religions, you'll find one mainstream. There'll be a mainstream and mainstream Sunni Islam. Whenever it comes to the Quran, trust me, even the Shias, even the Ahmadis, even these people, they are actually unanimous in the sense that they all agree with the Quran, that the Quran is how they interpret it.
And also one other thing.
Do you understand that? There's a difference. Even the sects of Islam, they agree that the Quran in Arabic It's what it is, and they read it as
I was
such.
going to go to Trafalgar Square today, yeah?
Yeah.
You've got a fantastic celebration, Diwali celebration, yeah? And some of my friends have gone over there because they're Hindus. Really nice people.
Yeah.
Now, God is watching these people from centuries following this belief, which came before Islam, before Christianity, and having a fantastic celebration. These are really good people.
Yeah.
Now, if the Quran came about, and it's the one true word of God, and God can see all the different belief systems, you've got Christians, you've got Islam, you've got Buddhists, why can't he resolve this by coming down and telling people, right, all you guys, all worshiping the wrong religion, these guys are right?
What makes you think that if God came down, they would believe him?
Because if he showed himself, if he was a parent, then
Isn't that what the Christians believe, that God came down? You see what
it
happened?
caused more diffusion.
By your own admission, the Christians themselves have fallen into so many different sects. So you see, just because claiming that God comes down and tells everyone, first and foremost, when you say God comes down, he has to first relate to you. The only way he can relate to you is for him to become a mortal, a human being. And that wouldn't be God, that would be someone else then. You see what I mean? So your logic and your understanding of God coming down, it doesn't really work, because what happens is that no one can see God and live. Yes, look at the sun itself. The sun is a creation of God. When it's really a sunny day, even in Britain, yes, are you able to look at the sun directly without being affected by it?
No, you get blind, yeah?
Yeah, so you will have trouble looking at the sun. Remember, this is the creation of God. Not only that, this is like billions of miles away. I don't know, thousands, tens of thousands of miles away. How can you stand God himself, who is mightier than all this creation, all the stars put together? Yes? How will you be able to see him? And that's the reason you cannot see God and live, at least not in this world.
Well,
but in the hereafter, you will.
Christians believe that God was humbled himself, yeah, to become a man.
Yeah, that means no more God then.
And yeah, but that's what he did. That's the whole point of it.
So it defeats the purpose of God coming down
He
then.
didn't he became a human being
Yes.
for 30 years, whatever, 33 years.
And then got killed by his own
And then
creation.
he got created, yeah.
He got killed by his own creation
Yeah,
then.
that was what his...
Doesn't even make sense, bro.
doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
it
So
doesn't
that's the
make
reason. Anyone who says that, why doesn't God come down as a man and then tell us all to come together? Because
But you're saying it doesn't make sense, but 2/3 of the world's population, yeah, believe in this Christianity.
it doesn't matter.
More than...
It doesn't matter, my friend. The point here is this: it's not the quantity of people who believe or disbelieve. You know, very soon there are countries. Actually, there are already countries in northern Europe. Yeah. So if you go to places like Scandinavia, the number of Christians have dwindled in comparison to atheism. Atheism has caught on there. So you'll find some places where it's 70% atheists. This is just because
In this country, it's 52% atheists.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just because a number of atheists have grown in this particular region, it doesn't mean atheism is correct, is it?
No.
So that logic also doesn't work. It is not the number of people. It is what you are being taught and whether it makes complete sense. You see, because if God gives you a particular revelation, yes, He's going to give it to you in such a way that it makes sense to you, that you're able to reason with the intellect God has given you.
It's better to be open-minded and be prudent and say, maybe I can be wrong. I can falsify my own beliefs. And if I test my beliefs and think, I could be wrong in this, you might find that you are right. Yeah. But if you're not willing to test it, then
No, but God has given a falsification test already. God has given us a falsification test in the Quran with regards to itself. When God says that this is the we have revealed the book, we have revealed the zikr, and we have preserved it. So this is one way that God is telling you that He's preserved it. Now another verse tells us that if this book is from anyone other than Allah, surely you'll find discrepancies and contradictions in it.
But then that's a circular argument. Because you're saying
No, hear me out. My friend, you didn't let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
Okay? Quran is basically open itself to being critiqued. Yes?
Yes.
Now you tell me that. You see, that all you need to do as a person who's not a Muslim, yes, as a person who wants to challenge the Quran, is to find a single contradiction.
Yeah.
contradiction.
Yes,
and you'll be
that
able
is
to
what the
turn up
Quran's
to
challenge is.
God.
Find a single contradiction in the Quran, and then you will prove that this is not a book of God.
That's what the Quran is about, the creation story. In
But is that a fair test?
yeah, the creation
Is that a
story.
fair falsification test?
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
So now all you need to do as a non-Muslim is to prove that. And you know what? Trust me, many people over the centuries have tried it
Well, I
and
find
they
the
failed.
creation story in the Quran is contradicts itself.
Really gone. Give me something from the creation story
What was the first
of the
thing?
Quran.
What was the first?
Talking to this gentleman.
What was the first thing that Allah created? Said it was a pen, yeah.
Allah says, yeah, it's a pen. Some say it's the throne, but there are differences of opinion. So what is the contradiction? I want to
How
know
can
that.
you create a pen? A pen is made out of heavy materials, you know.
Oh my God.
Whether
Is
it's
that the
made
pen
of-
you think? A
pen
literal
maybe-
pen?
Back in them days, pens were made of feathers.
Bro, do you really think a literal pen?
It's not a literal pen.
It's not a literal pen in the sense that we see it as a pen.
what is
It can be Look, it's a metaphoric term in
It's a metaphorical pen.
Yeah, it's a metaphoric term, maybe referring to what God created.
How do you know
And
what's
we don't
literal and
know.
what's
We don't know what
metaphorical?
kind of pen it was. We don't know whether it was a quill or basically it was a pen, because earlier they didn't have pens.
But you could
They used to
have a
write with the
quill.
feathers.
How can you have a quill? You create a quill when you haven't.
I'm not
got
saying, look,
words
I'm not
or-
claiming I know what it is.
Yeah.
All God said is that He created this, but how is it a contradiction? I want to
You know
know.
what it's a contradiction. So
Whatever form that pen is in, I want to know where is the contradiction.
a pen will be made out of heavy elements, yeah? And the first thing that
That is a pen you're thinking of. You see, you got a perspective of a pen.
It's a magic pen.
We don't know what kind of pen. I just
Why
told you.
call it a pen then? What are you gonna
Because
write?
you see, this is a pen in the sense that you and I don't know.
And what's he gonna pen for? To write on something, isn't it?
I don't know myself.
So what's he gonna write on?
Allah wrote, for example, Allah wrote in, it's called the preserved tablets. Yes? He wrote the entire Quran, for example. He wrote all the other revelations which came. So he wrote it, and we don't know what kind of pen it was or what kind of preserved tablets these
So he
are.
wrote this before he created the earth.
Yes. Before he created anything.
Alright,
Not
so he
only
used a
that.
pen and wrote it on tablets before there was anything like rocks or.
There you
Why
go
are you worried
again.
about that? Why are
You
worried
see,
about
you see what I
Why don't
told
you
you
ask
about?
about the tree in Jannah?
Because it's a contradiction. He asked for a
Don't you
contradiction.
understand? That's not a contradiction.
Sorry, I need to take this call quickly, but I'll be back. Can someone just
يا لغتي عربية حسبي بأنك منطقي وبياني عربية قلبي